Hi, my name is Simi, and I'm going to be talking to you today about my almost 2 year journey into nursing school. I just wanted to give you a little kind of overview about my journey into nursing school and what it has taken for me to go into nursing school at age 31 right now, and how I started my journey and why I started my journey into nursing school. I hope you stick around and watch the rest of the video. So the best place to start this story is back in 2015. In 2015, shortly after I turned 29, I started thinking to myself that it was time for me to figure out what I was going to do in the next phase of my life, because I'm a big believer in planning. And of course, when you turn 29, you start thinking about, oh my god, I'm going to turn 30, what am I going to do? So at 29, I started asking myself, what do I want to do in the next phase of my life? So to put things in context for you, at the age of 29, I had a bachelor's in literature, and then I had two masters as well. So I had already spent a significant portion of my life in school already chasing education. So at 29, I was like, okay, so what do I want to do next? I've been in this job for about a year and a half, almost 2 years at this point. The job that I was in, working in retail, had been there for almost 2 years. I had 3 degrees already, so I was thinking to myself, hey, it's either I move up and I start pursuing like management track jobs, or I change companies and find a new job, which was another option that I felt was very attractive at that point, because I felt like maybe it was time to try something different, or see completely change careers and figure out how to move on onto something else. But C was something that had been needling me for a while, but it was something that I wasn't too eager to grasp onto, because like I said, I had 3 degrees already with student loans attached, and I was like, maybe not, because money is not falling down from trees. So that's not something that I want to consider. I'm trying to figure out how to earn more. I'm not really trying to consider how to spend more money and get into more debt. So I was like, maybe not. But then, so 2015 ended, 2016 started, and of all the options I had been thinking of, C was the one big option that just kept on popping back into my mind, like, Simi, maybe you need to think about changing your career. But not just any kind of, maybe you need to think about changing your career, maybe you should become a nurse. Because what was happening to me at that point was, I was in this job where I had a lot of interaction with people asking me questions that I couldn't really answer for them, because I was working in a supplement department, and I was getting people asking me about, what do I do with my period, what do I do with the fact that I'm in menopause, what do I do with my baby that I just gave birth to, what do I do with the fact that I'm uncomfortable with this. Working in supplements, one of the things that I discovered from my own personal experience is that you get asked a lot of healthcare questions that you are not qualified to answer. And so I was just thinking to myself, if people are asking me these questions that they're supposed to be asking their medical provider, maybe there's a way of going into healthcare and learning more, and maybe becoming an advocate for women's health. So that was something that initially like talked to me, like, this is a great purpose. So but I was like, going into nursing school, that's a whole nother shebang. Like, money, how am I going to pay for school, how long will school take, I'm going to be 30 very soon. There are things that I need to consider, like my personal life. How would that fit in with the whole going back to school thing? And of course, I already have 3 degrees. So I thought about it, And I was like, okay, before I make a decision, let me find out more about nursing and figure out if it's a worthy investment of my time and my money, because somebody has to pay for school. And so I'm like, okay, let's figure it out. So I started doing my research, and one of the things that I found was that nursing is a great career for women. It's actually a field where you find a lot of women in all stages of their lives. And there are also so many options for what you can do as a nurse. There are so many different entry points. For example, when I started doing my research, I initially thought about, okay, become a CNA, then which is a certified nursing assistant, and then you can become a licensed like vocational assistant or licensed practical um nurse. So you can now become an LVN or an LPN, and then you can become an RN, which is a registered nurse, and then take it from there. Or in my case, because I already had a bachelor's, I could go into an accelerated bachelor's of science in nursing program. So I really did think about the accelerated option, because I was like, I can be done in 18 months. And because I live in Massachusetts, I don't know how it is in other states, but in Massachusetts, there are also a lot of programs that are direct entry programs for Masters of Science in Nursing. So basically, instead of going into a program and starting just the bachelor's, I could go directly into a program and become a nurse practitioner in 3 years. So I thought about that option as well. So while I was still trying to decide what to do about what track I wanted to do for nursing, I decided that it looked like nursing really is the thing I want to do. So I quit my job, and I became kind of like a freelancer doing a whole bunch of stuff. And then I went back to school and started getting my prerequisites for nursing school. So for me, I had to take anatomy and physiology 1, and I had to take anatomy and physiology 2, because even though I had taken anatomy and physiology before, it was more than 10 years old, and for most schools you can't come in with science prerequisites that are more than 10 years old. They have to be less than 10 years. I know there are lots of schools that set their time limit at 7 as well. So that was something that I was like, okay, I will just I'll just go take it so that I know I'm on the right side. So I took anatomy and physiology. I took human nutrition, I took statistics, I took psychology, because basically what I wanted to do was set myself up to be able to go into any program that I wanted to go into. I didn't want to limit myself into going into, oh, you can only go into an ABSM because you only have the anatomy and physiology, or you can only go into this. I took a whole range of classes because I was like, if I decide that I want to apply to a direct entry program, I want to be prepared for it. So basically I spent about a year, yeah, so it was about a year taking all of those classes. I was taking like 3 classes a semester because of course I was freelancing, so I had the option of arranging my schedule so that I could spend a lot of time in school instead of being worried about balancing my work and my school life. And then I took a semester off because my sister was getting married, and I knew that once I started nursing school I won't have the option of like disappearing for 2 weeks to go attend my sister's wedding. So I took a semester off, which was the best decision ever, because a whole bunch of stuff happened in that time that I was glad I wasn't in school during that time. And then in January, which is like January 2018, I started nursing school, and it has been the best decision of my life so far. I One of the reasons why I wanted to talk about my story is because I know there are lots of people that are my age, which means you're either like in your late 20s or you're in your early 30s, or even your after your early 30s, that you're thinking to myself, oh my god, it's too late, how am I going to do it, what kind of job am I going to do while I'm in school, will I be able to afford to pay for school, I already have a lot of student loans, how do I manage that? there are lots of, there are lots of people that are in my shoes, or that are currently at my starting point, who have the same dream that I had and don't know how to pursue it. I'm here to tell you that there are so many ways of like managing, changing a career in your 30s. And I mean, the one thing that I've always told myself is that if I really, really want something badly enough, I will find a way to make it happen. And that's something that I've spent a lot of time doing in the last couple of years. In the time that I have started this whole nursing school journey, I've learned to advocate for myself and fight for my rights. I've learned a lot about financing school. I've learned a lot about managing my personal finances, but I've also been able to improve my quality of life because I feel like I have a purpose. And finally, I think I've also learned that you're never too old for anything. Yes, I go to school with a lot of people that are younger than me, but I also go to school with a lot of people that are older than me, who inspire me, because I look at them and I think to myself, if they are doing it right now, then I don't have any excuse not to do it. Alright guys, so if you've gotten this far into the video, thank you for watching the whole story. I hope that my story gives you some perspective on what it's like to transition into a new career, or to transition into nursing in your 30s. If you've loved watching this, don't forget to like the video, don't forget to subscribe, and also please go ahead and tell me about your story. Are you considering going into nursing? Are you considering transitioning? What are your fears about taking the next step into a new career like nursing? I've loved talking to you so much, and thank you so much for watching this video, and see you on the next one.